Okay.
We are live now on Facebook. So welcome everyone to Supercharged Sunday with me, Emily McHugh, and my extra special guest, the one, the only Claire Bellavia. Claire. Oh, I'm so excited to have Claire with us today. Oh,
I'm very, very, very pleased to be here, Emily.
And you're coming all the way from jolly old Wales in the United Kingdom.
And it has been jolly today because spring has finally arrived. We have daffodils, we have baby lambs, beautiful sunshine. It has been a really, really lovely day today.
So Florida has finally arrived in Wales.
Minus the alligators.
Okay, we'll keep them over here. We will not send them.
Good plan.
That is wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that spring has finally sprung and life is good in Wales. That's wonderful. And not only that, you live near a castle.
I live near an absolutely stunning castle. Yes, it's actually the oldest. It's the oldest castle that's still standing, if that makes sense. There are older ones, but they're pretty much ruined. This is still spectacularly beautiful. It's used in lots of film settings as well. So, and yes, I can see it when I look out of my front window.
So what is it like to live near a castle? Before we even dive into our topic, I'm always thrilled with this concept of you living near a castle. What is that like?
Well, I like to pretend that actually it's my own personal castle.
Yeah,
it would suit me very nicely. It's also got a moat around it, which is quite often populated by geese and swans. So it's a really lovely place to go and walk. And it has a leaning tower as well, where obviously part of it's sort of coming away from the castle now because of its age. I think it dates from 1100. It also has all sorts of secret tunnels as well from sort of older times in history where people were persecuted and so on. So it's got an amazing history.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And can you share with us the name of your castle?
It's called Caerphilly Castle, which is spelled Caerphilly, Caerphilly Castle.
Wow. Okay, guys. So we're all eagerly awaiting the day when we can visit your castle, Claire. It's very much your castle. So
yes, Claire's castle.
And that's even easier to say. Claire instead of Caerphilly, we just call it Claire's castle. Okay, that's easy. Yes, that works. So I want to send special greetings to our friends on Facebook who are joining us. We have Pauline, we have Deborah, who is saying hi to Claire, and so they're all happy to be with you.
Awesome.
But you guys tag your friends if you know people who would totally benefit from this conversation, and there are many. Please tag them, invite them in, share this stream so more people can benefit from the conversation. And clearly, obviously in the replay as well, if you have any questions, please do post them. So today our topic is the top 5 ways we're supercharging your talent. So the top 5 ways to turn your talent into profit. And Claire has been working on this for a long time as a honing the craft of helping people do just this. And as we go through this whole pandemic stage, and even before that, as people want to know how to become more entrepreneurial and how to use what they have and turn it into something to benefit other people, this is what Claire has been working on to create this environment. So Claire, how did you come up with the idea even to get into this? So like a little bit of your background that led up to this concept here, the focus.
Okay. Basically, I've spent, I don't care to tell you how many decades working in corporate, basically in sales and marketing and predominantly business development. I've also been a business mentor for startups as well for 2 decades. And I'm absolutely passionate about entrepreneurship, particularly if it involves women or women starting their own businesses. Something very, very dear to my heart. And roughly 4.5 years ago, I decided, I was working in corporate, and I decided to see if I could set up an online side hustle, as a way of transitioning out of my job. So I needed the security of a full-time income, but basically I needed to expand my income. And so I set up a VA business, a virtual assistance business. Yeah. And I joined a program with a coach. It was meant to be an 8-week program, but obviously because the whole world of the particular VA world that I chose fitted with my skills that I already had, I was able to sort of shortcut the system. So I started my VA business after only 3 weeks into this course, and the whole world just sort of took off from there. I was able to obviously learn what it takes to run a successful online business, how to find clients, how to brand yourself, and also working with coaches, because that's the niche I chose. I chose specifically to work with course creators and coaches. So I've actually learned a lot about a whole new world, which I didn't know before. And basically that's what I'm passionate to encourage other women and, well, people, but predominantly women, to do.
Yes. So, and I know that, and I can certainly also speak for how wonderful you are to work with, because you also assisted me as well when I first was setting up my Facebook group and with my banners and my branding, with the whole bringing it to life. And that was such a big help for me, because I really wasn't quite sure how to even, I've been going live and doing things like that, but I wasn't really clear on how to set up my Facebook group, which has evolved quite a bit since, we started that. But you really have this vision of how people can present themselves in a way to kind of open the doors to let people in. Sometimes we stay behind these closed doors because we have all these ideas of why we can't go forward. So we get stuck in our heads. And so just being able to help unwind that thought process can really make quite the difference.
Absolutely. And I can totally vouch for that, because, even though I've had this high-flying career in corporate, I've got lots of qualifications, I've got lots of experience and whatever, but several years ago, I realized that what I really, really want to do is I want to coach and mentor other people into starting up businesses. And yet, even me still had this massive issue around what we call imposter syndrome. So, well, who's going to buy from me? And, who am I to do this? And, putting myself out there, because obviously in corporate, I was representing other people's products and services and so on. No problem. But when it came to actually sort of selling me, other than selling myself in an interview, I found it actually really, really challenging. So it's something that, number one, I really relate to. And number two, I'm really good at helping other people unpack it so that they can overcome it as well and actually get going. And the other thing I want to say about this whole thing about starting an online business is that when people think about a business, they're thinking typically of some big operation or something massively intense and scary and, daunting. And actually, you could just start something as a side hustle, or a little enterprise. So, for example, one of my friends is a bookkeeper, and she's very much into mindfulness and doing things to sort of calm her down, because some of her work's very stressful. And she's very, very creative indeed. She loves making things, and she's immensely artistic. So we've actually started up a business doing wax melts, which are these little scented things that, you warm with a candle, and it perfumes your whole house. Yeah. So she's getting a sort of a double benefit, if you like. So she's doing it mindfully, because it's very relaxing making these candles, trust me. And then obviously she's getting paid to make them and sell them. So it's a win-win situation.
That's absolutely beautiful. And I'd like to go a little bit deeper, if you will, on the whole imposter syndrome side of things, because a lot of people, and both male and female, and I remember many years ago, I was interviewing for a job when I just finished business school. I was interviewing for a investment banking job with a very well-known investment banking bank. And the person who was interviewing said to me that, it's wonderful to have the name of this big, giant international name behind me, because it makes me feel very he didn't say powerful, but it made me feel like credible or whatever to go there and speak to people. I had this thing behind, this infrastructure behind me, versus if I just hung up my own little shingle and put my name on it, who would care? And I remember this man saying this, and I'm like, I shouldn't have to be such a subsect of such a larger entity. And I think that's what you're speaking to, is that we have been conditioned to feel that if you're not part of something bigger or more elaborate, that what you have to bring doesn't count as much. And that is, it's actually the total opposite, because you are the one that makes that bigger company make sense. And so if we can overcome that, so what other reasons might you think we have that problem, and what are some of the steps you would encourage people to overcome it?
Well, the first thing I would say is that at the end of the day, and this is my sales manager talking now, the first thing people buy is people. You know, we buy from people we like. People get to know, like, and trust you. So, for example, when I was a sales manager, my customers knew that if I told them something was going to happen, or that I was going to do X, Y, Z for them, they knew without fail whatsoever that my word was my bond, you know, because they'd learned that they could trust me. You know, I sell and deliver with integrity, if that makes sense. So absolutely every single person has magic in them. They've got something that other people want. You know, they just need obviously to learn how to package and present that for sale. But we relate to each other first, primarily, not the name of your bank. You know, when you go into a bank, quite often you pick, if possible, a particular teller because you like that person. You know.
Absolutely. So, and Claire, I forgot to mention that you're coming from South Africa, correct? That's where you were born and raised,
Yes.
Right? Yes. You have go ahead.
I was going to say, yes, I am very privileged to have spent my early years in Africa generally. I lived in Zambia, I lived in Zimbabwe, and also South Africa. My mother's South African.
Ah, where were you actually born? Are you born in South Africa?
I was born in Wales, and I left Wales at the age of 6 weeks old.
Oh, okay, excellent. And then you went and came back. There you go. Excellent.
Yes.
So you have this very diverse outlook and a diverse mindset. And, you know, earlier this month, I was speaking with another supercharger, Leslie George, who we call the diversity diva. And she actually grew up in the Seychelles Islands. And she was sharing, you know, aspects of diversity and diverse thinking. So for you, coming from, you know, being in Africa, being in Europe, and the whole thing, how do you think that shapes your outlook on life and shapes your outlook on opportunities?
Well, it's actually funny because we were talking about recycling the other day. It's obviously a very sort of topical thing for the world, and very topical for us, both in business and in our home lives. And people were getting sort of all het up and excited about various elements. And I was thinking, in Africa, I also lived and worked in Asia for many years as well. But in Africa and Asia, basically, you know, nothing goes to waste. Do you know what I mean? Everything is used, whether they use tires to make shoes, for example. They use old soft drink cans to make all sorts of beautiful arts and crafts and things, and wind chimes and jewelry. And, you know, I think that because they see the potential in everything, if that makes sense. And I think that's probably one of the my biggest gifts, if you like, or my superpower, is I see the potential in others, and then I help them to actually translate that into some form of profit, whether it's, you know, financial profit, social profit, employment profit, you know, so that they can get a promotion.
That is a very powerful point you just made. First of all, let me just check. How is my sound? Is it okay, my sound? Because I'm hearing like this echo back on myself. So am I clear to you, Claire?
Yes, I hear you clearly.
Okay, all right. Just if anyone hears an echo, please tell me in the comments, because I just heard one for myself. Anyway, okay, so back to that specific point about being able to see the potential in others. and seeing opportunities where other people don't. And your time, as you said, in Asia, and then of course your other places you've lived, allows you to have a wider perspective. So for you, when you started your group, your Facebook group, Talent into Profit, that I'm sure that's tapping into that ability to see the potential in people. Why do you think it's so difficult for people to see the potential in themselves?
I think that, again, if you like, it's almost easy for me because I've worked in corporate and I've worked in sales and business development. So if you like, I've been trained, because it's something that I had to do for my job. And I also love marketing. So, I look at every situation and every person. I see their magic, if that makes sense. I then obviously try to marry that up with, what it is they actually want for their life. Because for lots of people, it's not actually about money. It's about quality of life and their lifestyle. So, we look at the two. So, this is who you are. We find, I don't know if you're aware of the principle of ikigai, which is where you look at yourself, what really, really lights you up, what can you do? And literally you love doing it so much you don't even notice the passage of time. And then basically, what is it that you can do that other people will pay you for? What sort of people would you like to work with? And basically, how are you going to get in front of them? How, what can you put together and get in front of them? That's what basically lights me up. That's what I love doing. I love brainstorming with people. I like hearing about their backgrounds so that I can tease out all the little bits about them that make them magical, because every single person has got magic inside them. And I like, with their blessing, to actually show them how to turn that into a business.
Wow. So you extract their magic. You're like a mining for diamonds and gold and
a mining witch, yes.
And the thing is, but no, I prefer fairy godmother, because that's what I call you, with your fairy dust. So that's how I see you. And again, it ties in with your castle theme, so it all works together.
I might have to change my branding now, Emily. So yes.
I mean, it really does all work. But that is a great talent and skill in and of itself, Claire, to have, and to now bring that to bear. So now let's dive into these 5 ways that people can turn their talent into profit. Okay. How do we start this?
Well, one of the things that we won't talk about in massive amounts of detail is obviously we all have assets, or hopefully most of us have assets. So by that I mean, your property, your car, a second property, etc. And obviously you can monetize, especially if you have an amazing location, or for example a quirky house or so on. You can rent those things out either on as Airbnbs. Obviously not in the current sort of health climate, but when life gets back to normal, you can rent things out. You can rent out beautiful homes and locations for film sets and that sort of thing. But the things that I'm experienced in and that I'm very knowledgeable about how to do is, for example, as we said already, skills. So those are the skills that you've learned, or natural abilities or skills that you have. Knowledge that you've learned. So, for example, where you've become a lawyer, a doctor, any other form of professional person, and also your life experiences, because your life experience, whether it's traumatic or hopefully pleasant, you are full of information, shortcuts, if you like, maps that you can sell and teach other people, so that either they don't have to go through the same hardship that you did, or you making the situation a little bit clearer for them so that they can get to their goal quicker.
Yeah. So no, that's really exciting to know that there's a process, because sometimes it's easy to get, again, lost in your own mind and your own thoughts. So it's really wonderful to know that there's a systematic way you can approach this. Yep. I want to also just take a moment to thank again our viewers who are coming on. I see our Abby Cornell is on with us. Hi, Abby. Thanks for joining. And I want to just kind of highlight, Abby's group. We met through Abby's group a few years back, and the importance of that community she's created, which has been so beautiful, that's allowed these different friendships around the world to flourish. And I think, Claire, when I met you, we hit it off like right away. And it was kind of also a part of this, exactly what you're saying, is that you're able to see something in me, I see something in you, and you're like, okay, how do we take that to another level? How do we maximize that, turn that into a situation that's valuable? And that's what you're doing now for other people. And so that process of again, of extracting the value. So is it a part of it, like people underestimate their own skills because they're accustomed to it, they don't think about it?
Yes, definitely. But before I answer you properly, I do want to acknowledge Abby Cornell, because she's actually how I became a VA in the first place. It was her course that I went on. So she has been a massive friend to me, very, very supportive. And yes, if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be where I am now in terms of this whole online coaching and so on that I'm doing now. So thank you, Abby. Sorry, just give me that question again.
I think we got caught up in our Abby love fest. I don't remember.
Big love.
But that's a good reason to know. Absolutely. No, it's about extracting the value with people. So you were saying, going back to the whole idea of people, they have skills, they have knowledge, but they may not know how to apply it, or they may even think other people are better than they are, which is, I think, goes right back to the heart of that imposter syndrome we were talking about in the beginning. You're like, well, someone did so much better, or somebody does it, or how can I ever compete with that person? And then you just kind of dismiss your skills altogether because you think they're good enough. So that part right there.
We're all completely guilty of that, and often it's the things that we do naturally, that our natural skills are the ones that we write off, if you like. But just because you can do it really well doesn't mean that that other person can. So that's why they need to buy your special skills, because they can't do it as well as you. So take for example, somebody that's really good at design, has a really good eye for color, branding and so on. Branding is one of the issues where people who start online businesses get really, really stuck and lost and go round and round in circles, because they can't complete a logo, they don't know the principles of logo design, or they don't know the principles of, color. They don't know how branding is affected. It's not about the person necessarily. It's how you're conveying yourself to your ideal client is what branding is about. But if you don't know that, then why is anybody going to expect you to know that? And it keeps you stuck. So all the things that you take for granted because you're already good at it, you assume that everybody else is as well. Well, they're not. They're not, and they need you.
And you help them to understand that and to really pull that through, or kind of walk through what are those things that you are taking for granted about yourself that other people really need. And then you kind of it's like turning on the light bulb that, oh, really, they really need this and they really need that, because there are not a lot of schools for this. That's why there's so much opportunity for you, Claire. This is not taught necessarily. And people are not taught to think of themselves in this way. And so automatically, so some people maybe are more inclined than others, yes, but in general, for the most part, we're not. We kind of see ourselves in a certain path and we just kind of go down that path. But now this is about expanding way beyond what we are maybe accustomed to.
Yep. So, and the other thing as well that I wanted to say as well is that when we're looking at these things, then we very often want to be helped by somebody who's only a couple of steps up the ladder further than you are now. When you look at things, you don't want to, you might aspire to become a superstar, with a Ferrari and a big house and a whatever. But if you're only living in this situation now, number one, it's not realistic. It's not going to happen overnight. And number two, it might not suit your family, your lifestyle, your situation, your skills and your talents. So, it might not be actually possible for you, but, to be helped by somebody who's, 2 to 3 years ahead in their journey, but you're on a similar journey, that is absolutely priceless. And, that's the whole thing about you selling your life experiences. You've lived through a situation, you're out the other side. You can now help those, that are still coming through that process.
Yes. Yeah, that is a very powerful thing. And I think the key word there is just what you just said, the process of this. It's not an overnight thing. And sometimes we are so eager to maybe achieve certain goals that we underestimate what it takes to truly experience the steps. Like you have to take the steps and go through the steps. It's not so obvious. And I think that's one really key area where a lot of entrepreneurial people they overlook, especially people who are new to entrepreneurship. They don't appreciate it. They think it's just 1, 2, 3, and then they get frustrated and maybe want to give up because they're not there. Whereas they're getting closer if they just stick it out a little more.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful thing to understand.
And that's where, for example, people who run specialist Facebook groups, as an example, are so valuable, because, you can belong to a community, you might all be at different levels in your journey, but because you all have a similar goal in mind, for example, you want to learn how to monetize your Facebook group, for example, then Abby Cornell is the queen of Facebook groups. So you get into her group, and basically she gives you massive value and teaches you, how to set up your group properly, how to monetize it, what you need to be putting out and when, because obviously all these little steps, you wouldn't know that before, and you'd get frustrated and you'd think, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and nothing's working. By joining a Facebook group that specializes in that thing that you are trying to create or do, then you're going to get a ton of support and you're not going to be on your own. I think that's one of the scariest things for entrepreneurs, if they think about setting up a business, is finding like-minded people, who else is on this journey with me, because you do find that you need to reach out from time to time, either for support, advice, skill swaps, loads of things. And some of the people that I've been on this journey with for the last 4 and a bit years have turned out, even ones I've never met in person, like you and me. I consider you, so valuable to my life. You inspire me. I often cite you to other people. I use my Kasori bags that I bought from you daily. So, do you know what I mean? It's very, very far-reaching, all this.
Yes, it is. And Claire, I feel the same. I feel the same towards you as well, because I have to say, I think it was back in maybe mid 2019. I'm not quite even sure now. It's almost over 2 years at this point. And I had recently lost my mom the year before and felt so kind of out of sorts, and still do many times. But that community that Abby created, that summer camp that she started that summer, really kind of energized me in a way that I hadn't been in a good little while. So it was so powerful meeting you and all the other ladies. It was such a nice connection. And as I said before, we had this beautiful connection, and it was it is still very, very meaningful. So again, special thanks to Abby for being this community builder that she is. And she actually was featured on here Supercharged Sunday a few weeks ago. And I encourage people to check out her talk as well to learn more about how to go about dealing with your Facebook group and monetizing and such. And Claire, what you're now doing with your group with the Talent into Profit is doing exactly that. You are amazing at creating community. You make everybody feel welcome. You draw them in. Plus, you're funny. You make it fun. And that's the thing, to make it fun. And that's not so easy to do, but you do it very, very well. And I know you're a young group. You just kind of launched it recently, but it's already taking off and people are joining in the party. So tell us a bit more about your Facebook group and how it's your goal for that group.
Yes, my baby group, as I like to think of it, because it was literally born this year. Yes, and as you said, basically, what I want to do in there is, number one, as you said, make people feel really, really welcome, make it a safe space so that you can literally just show up as you are, be yourself, ask whatever you want to know, because at the end of the day, there is no such thing as a stupid question. Don't be afraid to ask anything. I don't expect anybody, including me, to have all the answers, but I'm very resourceful. So even if I don't know the answer, I'm sure as hell going to work really hard to get an answer for you. And yes, in this group, I want to help women set up service-based businesses online so that they can live the life that they actually choose to themselves.
Yes. And you know what makes that work so beautifully too is that the encouraging of people within the group to get to know each other. Like we have the buddy system type thing that whole buddy thing, that's how people got to meet better than to feel like they're by yourself, you don't really know anybody. And so to be able to create that kind of camaraderie right off the bat also helps as well. And one of the key things though is that for people to explore ways that they can collaborate as opposed to compete. And especially in this whole road to turning your talent into a profit, maybe, you have one skill, someone else has another skill, and you bring them together and wow, you have an even more powerful product and a more powerful opportunity for profit too. So the more that people are encouraged to think that way as well, the faster they can grow, the more they can accomplish more quickly. And I think Yvonne, I think she's watching, and I can't quite tell from which screen, but Yvonne Jones is great. She's also a wonderful coach. And she shared this word the other day called co-optition. I think I have it right, Yvonne, where it was about collaboration and competition kind of coming together, but really just boiling down to collaborating.
Yep.
So have you seen that happening, Claire, with people in your group and that you know?
I've seen lots of collaboration in my last sort of four and a bit years online, and I've actually been part of collaboration groups myself, so added my own sort of elements to things. And also, of course, collaboration is a marvelous way to start a business in itself. So if you take somebody like me who was running a VA business, I was doing all the work myself. Sometimes it was incredibly stressful because I had a full-time day job, and then I was doing an additional up to 30 hours a week on the side in my side hustle, literally burning the candle at both ends. But an example of collaboration then is I could have collaborated with a group of other VAs to deliver bigger packages, and thereby I would take a percentage of the bigger sale, if you see what I mean. And suddenly I'm running, for example, a VA agency. Or I could do the same with people who specialize in social media management. I could get 5 or 6 of them, all with different skills. Somebody who specializes in YouTube, somebody who specializes in Pinterest, somebody else who does, I don't know, Clubhouse, for example, or podcasting or whatever, and put them all together. And I could create a social media marketing agency. So, that's a collaboration. There are so many ways of making money, particularly online, and it doesn't have to be you that's doing the work, if you see what I mean. You can just use your organizational abilities or your vision or your contacts or your knowledge about a particular sector. You can turn that into a business.
That's right. And it's very exciting, especially now when a lot of people are seeking to be creative. Some people have lost their jobs, or even if they haven't lost their jobs, they want to expand or maybe start to do things on their own. So it kind of forces you to be more creative. But what tends to happen is we talk ourselves out of our own creativity. Like, who's going to really want that? As I said before, someone else is already doing it. So how do we overcome the voices in our head that get in the way of us turning our talent into profit?
Well, number one, I'm going to say next, Emily, and that is join my group, because as soon as you tell me about those voices in your head talking you out of it, I'm going to show you tell me what the example is of why you don't think you can do X, Y, Z, and I will show you 10 examples of people that A, did, and B, are doing it now. So that'll overcome your negativity, if we call it that. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're creating that accountability as well for the people that they can't get away with excuses. Like they can't get away with it. And so for people, it's kind of being held to task that if you're given a skill, if you have a talent, it's meant for you to use it in one way or another. And it's incumbent upon you to keep digging away until you find the right niche that you feel you fit into, the groove or whatever it is.
Yes, and that's not always easy, Emily. You know, at the end of the day, lots of things sound good on paper, and then you know, you can try it on for size, and basically, if it doesn't suit you, if you don't like it, if you don't feel comfortable in it, that's the beauty of an online business. Guess what? You know, you just change your branding, change your message, change what it is you're doing. You know, if you're opening a bricks and mortar business, you know, with say for example a store, you know, you'd have to stock it, you'd have to have staff, you'd have to have insurance, you'd have to have, you know, burglar alarms and all the rest of it. So to suddenly change direction would be very, very costly, and it's not going to be able to happen overnight. With an online business, you literally can change direction and change what you're doing in a very, very short space of time. So, and another reason for online businesses as well, and I've talked to a lot of people about this recently, is that because a lot of people have been furloughed and they've had to stay at home from their workplace, things are now starting to gradually open a little bit up in Wales and in the UK. And a lot of people are absolutely dreading going back to work in an office environment because, of course, they've been totally spoiled sitting at home in their pajamas. And again, that's the beauty of an online business. You could be sitting there at 2 o'clock in the morning if you want to, in your pajamas, getting paid. You know what I mean? No more nasty boss. No more alarm clock, unless you choose to set your alarm clock. You know, it fits around your children, fits around your family, fits around your lifestyle. You know, people who are digital nomads and who love traveling the world. What better way to earn a living is, you know, some form of service that you can sell online. So, for example, being a VA.
I think that let me jump over. I'm just jumping over to our page for a second. A lot of comments have come in, and I just want to just look at this. Abby says, "I'm in my Superman pajamas right now."
We want a photo. We want a photo.
Yes, yeah, definitely put up a photo. Here, let me just look at some other comments. Yeah, Abby has some great comments in here. Yvonne says there will always be people who have things they're good at, but those people will have weaknesses that other people are good at, and it makes sense to utilize their skills. Absolutely. So bringing it together. And then Deborah says, never compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. And that is the thing, because you come together like, how are they so far ahead? And like, because they've only been doing it that much longer. Yeah. So it's only, you know, fair to understand that. Let's see, what are some other things? Oh, where's my zebra bag? Okay, Abby, we'll talk. I'm kind of going in all kinds of random order with the question. Oh, let me read what Deborah wrote. She says, collaboration. This is where the world of business is going for sure. We are entering, and she puts in parentheses, in the birth canal of the age of Aquarius. Oh, which is all about community collaboration. Okay, because when she said birth canal, I thought she meant the birth canal of our business, which yeah. I was reading ahead of her. Okay.
Is that Deborah Kelly?
Yes, it is.
Deborah Kelly is absolutely amazing at astrology, and you're basically being guided by your soul. And I had a reading with her involving my birth chart and everything. And I can honestly say it's one of the most enlightening experiences I've ever had. And it's, you know, it just emphasizes why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because I'm actually called to do it, if you see what I mean. You know, it's part of my journey through this life.
That is very interesting. That is a very intriguing perspective. I'm okay. I'm trying to keep up with this. Okay, there's the whole pajama thing. All right, I'll let them talk about that.
I was going to say, I'm glad I can't see the comments, otherwise I'd get distracted.
Let me let them talk about their pajamas. But yeah, so it's very intriguing to tap into who you are at your core and what you're all about. And when you mentioned that, I always, anytime I think of talent and skills, I always remember the biblical scripture that says, neglect not the talent, the skill that's within you. Neglect not the gift that is within you. So it's like God we created us to fulfill certain things, fulfill a purpose, fulfill a talent. And I personally believe that God will guide you into that realm. And that's my personal belief system. And I feel that so strongly that if I ever feel lost, I pray and I say, Lord, I need guidance and I need direction. And that could come in someone coming to talk to you, share some insight with you, or maybe bringing something from a perspective you didn't think of. And that could be a part of the answer to prayer. So I look at it like that very much so. And also, people also think because they pray or because they just reach out, immediately they get the answers. And that's not necessarily the case. It may take way longer than you think. And as we were talking about before, the idea of the process. So you may have all these skills and you're like, why doesn't it automatically turn into something amazing? Because it takes time to build up the infrastructure for all this to happen. So now, Claire, I know you're working on a special program to help people do just that. So you want to give us a little sense of what's coming down the pike for you?
Well, I do want to say one thing about, I've lost my pen. So I'm just going to make a note to answer your question. Basically, but before I do that, what I want to say is that the whole thing about the gifts that you're born with, I'm 110% on board with that. And I'm almost ashamed to tell you that during the course of my lifetime, I estimate conservatively that I've spent at least £300,000. I don't know how much that is in dollars, but I've spent at least £300,000 on university degrees, courses, coaching, seminars, programs, one-to-one coaching, blah, 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 because I had the, I suppose, maybe misguided impression that I was put on this planet to do this one thing, and it was all career related. So I was meant to be a doctor, or I was meant to be a lawyer, or some job title, and I was so busy on this mad hunt for the answer, spending money, spending time, I even went all over the world doing that. So this wasn't even just confined to one country. But I was a woman on a mission. And yes, basically what I completely overlooked was to actually follow the signs and follow the crumbs that I was already leaving throughout my whole life. So, one of the things that I love, predominantly is obviously people. I love transformation. So it doesn't matter whether it's interior design, whether it's people having makeovers on TV programs. I love the process of this is what it looks like now, and this is what it could become, and oh, look at it now, sort of thing. Even situations that we have in life, this was the story, but it doesn't have to stay that way. It doesn't have to dictate the rest of your life. Everything can be changed and transformed. So I'm actually passionate about that, And so I've created a 12-week program that literally walks you through the 12 steps needed and necessary from my personal experience to create a successful online business, right from, who you are, what lights you up, what are you really, really good at, what have you got that other people are going to want to buy, who are those buyers, and basically where do you find them, how do you put yourself in front of them, how do you deliver what you're going to sell, and so forth.
That is brilliant. That is really, really beautiful. And I think you're so, not just think, I know that you're absolutely well positioned to execute on that, and that everyone who's a part of that group will benefit. And even if they're not, they should consider joining Claire's group, Talent into Profit. if you're on this journey of exploring ways to maximize your talent and get it to market, and especially now when this is more important than ever. You can't rely on any one job or any one situation that it will stay that way. So being open to this thing. And I also say to people, even if you're in a great job that you love and everything's great, do not sit there depending on that. It's a, I think it's a cardinal error to think that way, and especially in this day and age. You want to have multiple streams of income. And multiple streams of income do not necessarily mean that they're all the same, like they're all the same level. Some could be a couple hundred, some could be a this, but whatever. It's multiple streams, and it's better. One quote my mom would always say: "It's better a steady trickle than a flood." So if you have that steady trickle, you can get somewhere. Yeah. So that's what people need to realize, that this is more of an imperative now than just a nice to have. So I think everybody, no matter what you do, who you are, should explore other avenues of expressing your talents and such.
Definitely. And also from a point of view of, when people come towards retirement, if they suddenly realize they don't have enough money put by for their retirement, what greater way than to start now and create a little side business to start topping up that, for example, to pay for the extras in life that, the nice to haves, things that you're sitting there dreaming about, they're actually within your grasp, and honestly, probably so much more easy than you know at the moment. You're sitting there thinking, oh, I'd really like that. You've got no idea how to get it. You have skills, talents, or knowledge that will enable you to get that. You just need the roadmap to know how.
That is fantastic. That is exactly it. And it's very encouraging, and it's very motivating to know that it's all possible. And it doesn't have to just stay some elusive dream in your mind, that it's something that really can come to pass. Let me peep up here again at some of the comments. Yvonne says where's the comment just disappeared? Another great exchange. Great. Thank you, Yvonne. She's enjoying the exchange. And Abby says, my daughter and hubby are Aquarius. So we're definitely all about Aquarius today. So having multiple jobs, the day of one job is gone. That's for sure. It is so true. Deborah is sharing with us. So yeah. And Pauline, you can go through major testing and challenges to truly reveal your passion, and so forth. So yeah, you guys, thank you for these great comments and sharing these things as well.
I now have that song going through my mind, The Age of Aquarius. and no, you'll be glad to know I'm not going to sing.
Oh, I used to love that song. It just reminded me of, the 60s and 70s and all of those.
It's happy.
Yeah, and a time of change. A time of change and transition, and it's kind of like you have to go forward. There's like no going back. And people talk about the new normal there, or the going back to things. There's no going back, and I don't like the word new normal either, because that will change again as well. So the whole idea of change and being adaptable, and also understanding that regardless of what's happening in the world, you still have your talent and your skill, and you can still find a way to make that come to being. Because like, look at us right now, we're using Zoom. Thank God we have the internet, that it's working, and that we're able to connect and all have this technology that allow us to do just what we're doing. We couldn't do this 10 years ago like this. We couldn't do it, not even maybe 5 barely years ago. So this is all relatively newish and recent, and it's changing everything. It's making things possible that normally would not have been. So we have these tools at our disposal to maximize, to create that platform for the skills to come out. So Claire, again, let's just remind people of how they can follow you and how they can connect with you and take advantage of the wonderful things that you have to offer. So just share that with us, please.
Well, with a lovely name like mine, there are very few Claire Bellavias on the internet. And I haven't actually taken a close look at the others, but obviously I don't think they look too much like me. So yes, my name, Claire Bellavia. I'm on Facebook. And my group is Talent into Profit.
That's great. So they can find you very easily, basically. And we have another Abby, our lovely Abby Anderson, join us. Hi, Abby. We're so happy to have all these great ladies on with us today. And we thank you all. And you guys, I have an open invitation to all my Supercharge with Emily Facebook group members, my superchargers. I want to feature you, highlight you, showcase your supercharge prowess and talents. So to have you as guests on here on Supercharge Sunday, and I invite you to join the group if you're not a member, and also look out for some interesting things coming down the pike as well. The supercharge, what's my thing called? Startup Roadmap Toolkit. My small mighty offer. No, so we're working on all of that, but a lot of cool things. But the whole idea is to stay connected, to have people really engage and again form these collaborations. And the goal is, as we come on here today and we talk, that people meet each other in the chat and connect with each other and explore these synergies, and that we'll have opportunities to do more of that. So our goal today is we are going to have a little bit of a Supercharge after party, Supercharge Sunday after party on Clubhouse. That's the plan. And at first we thought we weren't going to be able to do it, but we're going to be able to do it. So we're going to try it. Right, Claire? So if any of you, Clubhouse, I'm going to just drop in my comments. My Clubhouse handle is at Casauri, at CASAURI. You can join us over there. But I really want to thank everyone who took the time to join us today. We so appreciate it. We appreciate your feedback, your comments, and anyone who watches this on the replay will certainly go back and look at your comments as well. And if you have any questions for Claire or want to know more about her programs, just also connect with her. She's easy to find, as she just told you, on Facebook and also in her group, Talent into Profit. And so this is really exciting. And next week actually, I may be taking a mini break because it's my sister's birthday next Sunday. So we'll replay another Supercharged Sunday, but we'll be back with more great guests coming up each and every week. I think that'll be my first week from this in like months. We've been going strong.
Awesome.
No, it's been wonderful. But Claire, thank you. You've been so wonderful, a wonderful guest, a wonderful person. And I love you so much. And I'm so happy to be able to send you this big hug all the way across the ocean. And all my other ladies, my Abbies, all my Abbies. Abby Matsky, Abby Anderson, all the Abbies. And let's see, Yvonne and Deborah and who else is on? Pauline and all you lovely ladies who joined us. We so appreciate it. Yeah, really excited.
Well,
okay,
I'd like to thank, obviously, anybody who knows me that's on the other side of the comments that I can't see. Thank you so much for your support. It's my first ever live interview, so I hope I acquitted myself well. And yes, I'd obviously like to thank you, Emily, for your support over these years and the chance to do this interview, and wish you many, many happy returns for your birthday.
Oh, that's my sister's birthday. Mine is in July, but thank you very much. I'll accept it too, because I celebrate it as well. I latch on to everybody's birthday. So no, thank you, Claire. It's been a total honor and a total pleasure. So again, everyone, enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. People are saying you did great. Of course you did. Why wouldn't you? You're talented.
Thank you.
Talented, lovely lady. And it's nice, it comes from a beautiful, authentic place. So of course it's going to be beautiful. It says, we love you, Claire. You've rocked it. That's Deborah. That's right. Great fun, ladies. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, guys.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this was a real joy. All right. So we'll see you next time on Supercharged Sunday. And in the meantime, everybody stay supercharged. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.